Hey everybody, welcome to Face Value episode 20. I was really confused just now because things weren't showing up right. But anyway, I feel like that me saying things weren't happening the way I expected them is pretty much the total norm for me in making these videos and whatnot. But it is what it is. I know I'm getting on here a little bit later than usual right now. I have been at the church, New Rivers Church, the church that I pastor. I've been here for the last, probably 3 hours or so, which means Jesse's been with the kids for the past 3 hours or so. So God bless Jesse for that. But man, I just miss being here, and I really miss our church, as in our church people. I love to preach. Just full disclosure, I love to preach. I love to share the gospel with people. I love to encourage people. I love to inspire people. I love to do whatever I can to help people feel optimistic about their future because of the gospel and the good news of Jesus Christ and what God thinks about them and what God has to say about them. But I love to preach. But I just really feel like during this time where we've been away from each other, God is really helping me to realize even more so like how much I love the people that God allows me to pastor. Just it is sometimes, I'm just full disclosure, I keep saying that, but sometimes as a pastor, you can wonder like, man, what's going on? What's going on in my heart? Like, where am I at? Sometimes you'll even like, God, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And then there's moments like this where God just kind of continues to remind me that he has placed inside of me a pastor's heart and a love for you guys I'm so blessed to be able to try to lead, and we're able to try to lead more and more people in following Jesus together. But being here in our main auditorium or sanctuary or whatever it is that you choose to call it, man, it's a little overwhelming to kind of think about not being able to meet and not being able to be together. And I'm not trying to discourage anybody. It's just I feel kind of emotional right now, and I've been singing some songs and practicing to see what a microphone sounds like in our sanctuary, because with what the governor has said yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever it was, it's just I'm not sure exactly what the time frame will be before we get to come back together. And I know we all miss church. We all miss being able to worship together. And a lot of the reason why we would do our face values and we would do our church services from my house is because I didn't want to just ignore that things are different. I didn't want to ignore that things aren't the same. And so I would do face values, and we would be in our living room as you were in your living room, and we'd be worshiping as you were worshiping. But I know that we miss the church, that people miss coming to church services together. And so just kind of exploring what this looks like for us. But anyway, with all that being said, I do want to jump into the Bible. And I'm going to go to John chapter 10. I miss you guys is what I'm saying. And I love worshiping, and I love worshiping with you, and I love preaching, but I love that engagement with you. So let's move on. John chapter 10 says, "Truly I tell you, anyone who doesn't enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climbs in some other way, is a thief and a robber. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens it for him, and the sheep hear his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought all his own outside, he goes ahead of them. The sheep follow him because they know his voice. They will never follow a stranger. Instead, they will run away from him because they don't know the voice of strangers." And I wonder how many followers of Jesus, or people who would profess to be followers of Jesus, have chased after things that weren't of God, have chased after voices that wasn't God calling out to them, or wasn't God drawing them. And how many people have chased that? And the Bible tells us that we know his voice. And let's listen closely to make sure that we're hearing the voice of God and not the voice of another. It says, Jesus gave them this figure of speech, but they did not understand what he was telling them. Jesus said again, truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep didn't listen to them. I am the gate. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will come in and go out and find pasture. A thief comes only to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come so that they may have life and have it in abundance. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand, since he is not the shepherd and doesn't own the sheep, leaves them and runs away when he sees a wolf coming. The wolf then snatches and scatters them. This happens because he is a hired hand and doesn't care about the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. I lay down my life for the sheep, but I have other sheep that are not from this sheep pen. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. Then there will be one flock, one shepherd. This is why the Father loves me, because I lay down my life so that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down, and I have the right to take it up again. I have received this command from my Father. Again, the Jews were divided because of these words. Many of them were saying, he has a demon and he's crazy. Why do you listen to him? Others were saying, these aren't the words of someone who is demon possessed. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind? And so Jesus, we're coming right off John chapter 9, whenever Jesus heals the blind man. And Jesus is telling them, after healing this blind man and this man putting his faith in Jesus, he begins to tell them that he is the good shepherd. And what's interesting is that as pastors, if you're a pastor, you're called to lead the sheep. But you're not called to be the good shepherd. Like, we're called to be Christ followers, but we're not called to be Jesus. We are the body of Christ. But there will never be a pastor who is truly exactly the good shepherd like Jesus was the good shepherd. Jesus is the perfect shepherd. Jesus is the shepherd that only brings discipline when discipline is supposed to be applied and never messes that up. Jesus is the good shepherd that only leads his sheep exactly where they're supposed to go, and he never messes that up. Jesus is the good shepherd that applies love exactly when a love always needs to be applied, and he never messes that up. Jesus applies grace exactly when grace needs to be applied, and he never messes that up. Jesus calls his sheep by name, and he never messes that up, and he's always calling, and he's calling with accuracy, and he's calling in a way that you will listen to him. And if he's the good shepherd and his sheep know his voice, and we're not following the shepherd like he's called us to follow him, then we need to listen closer. We need to listen more closely. We need to lean in to what he's saying. We need to seek him, and we will find him, he tells us. We need to knock, and that door will be opened, he tells us. And so we need to seek after the good shepherd. We need to follow after the good shepherd, because he is truly the good shepherd. There is no good shepherd like him. There can be great, working, doing well shepherds, but he is the good shepherd. Good is different than great, because he is the good. Whenever we say that he is good, we're saying he's the only good. He is the epitome of good. He's the embodiment of good. And so we follow after him. And we know that kindness, goodness, patience is a fruit of the Spirit, but it's his goodness that we draw from. And so my encouragement to you today is to listen for the voice of your good shepherd. There's a lot of voices out there. There are a lot of people saying a lot of things about a lot of things. But Jesus is the good shepherd. And if you will listen, he will lead you. If you seek him, you'll find him. Hope you're having a great day, and God bless you guys. That is John chapter 10, I think verses 1 through 19 or so. And this has been Face Value.